The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night, all day.
People.
This is how I picture Andre Rison went to work every day when he played for the Atlanta Falcons.
I don't even know who that is.
Just rolling. Well, he's a Pro Bowl NFL wide receiver who spent just crazy amounts of money. Like,
did he blow through all
9
of it?
cars and shit? Yeah, like he blew through a lot of it. He was on that Broke special that they aired, and he was just like, if somebody pulled up, you know, in like a Ferrari, you're like, yeah, that shit's hot. I gotta top that shit. So then he would go like that day.
Wow.
Like, I got the Lambo with the brains blown out, man. Like, just to top each other. Guys would just buy shit to show off, you know, to compete with each other on it.
They say that there's some ungodly number of people. It's like 80% of all NFL players are broke and in bankruptcy within 2 years of retiring.
It's incredible. I mean, you know, the older I get, the more I understand the younger guys having no, like, zero
sense,
and also zero like financial IQ. Like, they don't know.
No,
21. They're like, here's $3 million. And they're like,
what the fuck? Yo, let's get this party started.
You're 22.
Yeah.
Can
you imagine?
It's crazy. But it's crazier when they're like, he played 10, 12, 16 years like Iverson, and he's blown through like $200 million. And you're
Is
like,
Iverson broke now?
Yes.
And how old is he now?
He's 37, something like that.
And his body's not working right anymore.
Oh, he's out of the NBA, yeah. And he's trying to play, but he's run through well into 9 figures, you know.
Wow.
I mean, and that's you know, you have to consider he did endorsements.
So 9 figures.
9 figures, dude.
Yeah, I make 7 figures.
Yeah.
Girls would be like, whoa, he makes 7 figures. Yeah. It's like, I make 9.
9.
I blew to it all.
Yeah, that's shit. Crazy, man.
Whoopsies.
It's crazy.
He blew through $100 million.
It's so much. They interviewed one defensive guy on the special on the Broke thing, and he was like, I don't know why, man, but he's like, everybody had a car wash, so we all he's like, we all had a fucking car wash, man. And that shit did not last. Like, we all spent money on a car wash.
We all bought a car wash. Yeah, man, you ain't got your own car wash.
And Bart Scott he was like, you buy shit that's unnecessary. He's not broke at all. And he's still playing, and he's like, I'm smarter with my money. But he's like, you know, everybody has a stupid purchase. I bought a coat. I think it was made of wolf. And and he's like, I wore that shit once. And it was like $35,000.
You can wear a wolf coat?
I think so, man.
Jesus Christ. A wolf coat. And that's admirable. And you're loving it. Look at you. You can't be happier. It's not possible to be happier than you.
I idle somewhere between not too pissed and somewhat pissed.
That's how you idle? No, you're bullshit. You said that earlier. It's like you saying that you're hard to work with. You know?
I don't think I'm hard to work with,
I doubt
frankly.
you're hard to work with.
No, I'm not hard to work with.
I bet you're hard to change. I bet you fight against someone trying to manipulate or direct you.
I remember when we were picking for a jury recently, it's a year ago, and they were picking for a murder trial over in the Pasadena courthouse, and the fella says, "Is there anybody here who isn't going to get themselves disqualified? Is there anybody here who's qualified to?" Try this case, and I was the only one who raised his hand.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm willing to listen. And the guy says, "Okay, sir." He says, "I think I know who you are." He says, "Would you listen to everybody else's idea behind while you're deliberating on this trial?" I said, "Certainly." He said, "But you would try to convince them they were wrong if you had another idea, right?" And I said, "Yes, that's accurate." And he dismissed me because of that.
You're too charismatic. You're too charismatic. You would manipulate it in your favor.
Well,
you're the lever. You're the lever on the bench.
Certainly not my first time in the Pasadena courthouse. You know when our first time was? Is Alex Van Halen and I had to sue the Mayfield School of the Holy Child of Jesus Incorporated for $125. This was in 1975, I think, 1976.
125. What was that about?
Well, it was in a contract. We had played a dance, and in the one-page contract, it said there will be no smoking backstage. There will be no marijuana consumed. There will be no drinking, etc., etc. And one of the sisters, was nuns at the time, claimed that she smelled pot smoke backstage and refused to pay us our $125 for the band. So
Angry bitch. Was she right?
well, no, there was no pot smoke backstage.
So she just made it up.
She may have smelled Marlboros. Actually, those were Camel filters. But Alex and I we bought clip-on ties so we could fool the judge, and we tied our hair back, and we went to small claims court and filed.
Did you win?
Well, what happened was, sat in front of the judge. We sat on one side, and on the other side, two sisters, two nuns came in a family, a father, a mother, and three of the daughters in school uniforms. They played it up hard. And the judge says, who filed here? I said, sir, I did. He said, it's $125. And there was no smoke, there was no smoking of anything illegal backstage, whatever. And he had one of the nuns stand up, and she said, I refused to pay him because I smelled marijuana smoke. And the judge says, what is your answer to that, sir? And I stood up and I said, sister, how do you know what marijuana smoke smells like? $125 later.
That's great.
Paid for the T-shirt.
Yeah, how would she know? Silly bitch. I've heard you say that you believe that consciousness is non-local.
Right.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if discontinuity, see, you are already familiar with discontinuity. Now you want to know even the most unfamiliar, most intriguing. This is like voodoo. This is really like voodoo. We're now getting into real crux of the most surprising thing in quantum physics. That surprised even Einstein. Einstein in his whole life could not believe this concept of non-locality, which he himself discovered with two other physicists, Nathan Rogan.
How did they discover it?
How they discovered a theory. Einstein was a theoretician. He never, well, I shouldn't say never. He probably did experiments in his young days when he was a graduate student. I did too. But theorists don't do any experiment. What they do is this creative exploration of the mind. By that, they find new ideas, and then they predict stuff. So Einstein's idea was, and this is 1935, mind you, Einstein's idea was that if two quantum objects interact, they become correlated. And this is a new word that he used in that paper, he and his collaborators, Rogan and Podolsky. These people really found with their theory, with their mathematics, that if two objects once become correlated, then even when they are not interacting, even if they move away from each other, even then they can communicate. Not in the usual way, not interacting with signals. That's the usual. You and I are interacting right now, but we are interacting through a complexity of sound waves and electrical waves through these microphones. That's all through signals. But these objects communicate without signals. So their communication uses a medium that can only be outside of space and time. Because in space and time, Einstein himself gave us a theory of relativity which says that nothing can interact without exchanging signals going through space and time. But these objects, quantum objects, once correlated, they have the capacity of signal-less communication. This is what is called non-local. Signals are local, going through space, taking.
And how do they measure that these particles are communicating?
So the key is in that they measure the communication and they show that there is no signal because the communication took place faster than the speed of light. In all local signals going through space and time must travel either at the speed of light or less than the speed of light. So if something can be shown to travel faster than the speed of light, it has to be non-local. And this is what physicists now discovered in the laboratory. Alan Aspect in 1982, finally verified. Einstein was dead long time ago, 1955, so he never knew that his theory will one day not only prove to be right, but really revolutionize the whole world of physics by bringing in concepts of consciousness.
The Joe Rogan Experience.